Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Bitcoin. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so the first thing I want to do here is actually go over three ideas that were invalidated. So we're looking at this possibility that this could be ABC, but saying that potentially we could see an extension within this last bit, but we actually came down past our invalidation point, so that is gone. Now we're also looking at that possibility within the bullish case. We were looking for that direct push to the upside, but once again, invalidation point has been crossed, so we can remove that off of our accounts. As well as that, we were looking for this possibility that 1212, and then we were looking for this to potentially look to extend up. Now this is also invalidated because we have come down too low. So what I'm going to do here first is we're actually going to go over the most recent move here, and then we're going to talk about what this could mean in the bigger picture, because at the moment there is a lot of different ways that we can look at this move, and we need to just be careful because when moves are getting complex like this, they can just chop and range within this area for a long period of time. So we need to just be aware of that fact. So we're going to come in here now and we're going to look at this direct move down here. Now we were talking about this as soon as we cross this area here of this high, saying that we need to be careful because this could potentially look to come down here and sweep some of these lows, and we have actually come into that zone. So there's two ways that I'm looking at this. If we are counting this from this high here, potentially we could have just a simple impulse here where we don't have any extension going on. And what we'd be looking for within this effectively is the evidence of this fourth wave. Now, the typical zone that we get a fourth wave is this 30,621 to this 30,238. So we have come up into this already. Now, the two higher targets are still open. Invalidation of this as a fourth wave comes by crossing this 31,075. If we do stay within this area here, this will be the primary way that I'm looking at this count, where we're counting this just as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 to the downside. Now, if we do get a fifth wave down here into this range of this 29,771 to this 29,564, this would align then with having a single 5-wave move. Now, this could be many things here within this context, because we could argue that we have something like this as a flat correction. The key thing within this is if we get a 5-wave move, and we reverse to the upside and take this high, then this confirms that this 5-wave move is a C wave. If we get a 5-wave move and we fail to break back above this 31,804, what we need to be careful of is this could actually be A, B, and we get a C wave to the downside. Now, our C wave 1-to-1 if would be based off of coming into this box and back up into this golden pocket area here, which would be towards this 31K region, would be down here towards this 28,925. And that would mean that we have a zigzag over here. Alternatively, if we do start to break down deeper and we start to hit this zone of this 1618, here towards this 27,723, this would align with this move actually turning into a bigger 5-wave structure. So what we then have is something like this, where we would be potentially looking for this target here of this 27,417 to this 26,963, provided that there is no extension within these waves. Now, the other way we can count this is if we actually take it off the high. What we could say is it's the same idea here. We're looking at the yellow count. Now, if we are saying that we have this fourth and a fifth, what we need to be on the lookout for is that if we do see price actually come back down here in this fifth wave, I'm going to be looking out for that potential of seeing another 3-wave move up and another 5-wave move to the downside. If we look to push up high enough and actually move past this zone here of this 31K region, this would invalidate both of these counts here. So we need to just be on the lookout for that. This is going to be our key support or key rejection area for this count. Now, if we do get another 3-wave move to the upside here and we get this 5-wave move down, the same idea is going to be basically in play here. What we want to see is if we are going to invalidate this continuation to the downside, we need to get a 5-wave move down here and we need to get back above these highs. So that would once again be this 31,804. Failure to do so could still mean that we see lower prices come in here, where this whole move becomes A, we get B, and when we still look for this as a C wave down, 1-to-1 would be this 28,441 off of our golden pocket area here, which would be this 30,837 to this 30,917. So if we do see price come down here in a 5-wave move, we get an additional fourth and a fifth. This is once again can be a few things. So we need to see whether this price actually comes back up, sweeps these highs again, and looks to invalidate the idea that this could become ABC, or if we do actually get that rejection off this box area after forming these waves, what we need to be on the lookout for is this 1618. A drop past 27,053 could align with then having this move as a third. We get a fourth and a fifth, which would actually bring us back into this channel, which is quite interesting. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this over the next week or so, see exactly how price continues here. Now, there is always the potential within the structure that you know, we could see further extension. We have 1 2 1 2, we get another 1 2 here, and then actually we start to break down in a bigger way. This is always a possibility. So the key thing here is going to be these invalidations. So this wave 4 would be invalidated by crossing this 31,075. Crossing these high points invalidates the idea of any more extension to the downside. So that would be looking at this move, looking to potentially break down in this 5-wave structure. Now, the thing we need to be cautious of here is that at the moment we just have 3 waves down. We don't have this 4th wave and 5th wave yet. So what I want to see is confirmation of this move as a 4th and a 5th. And what that could potentially look like is, if we are looking for that idea of that 4th wave, what I'm looking for is that potentially we could have this as an A wave to the upside. Now I'm looking for further evidence of this B wave. At the moment, all we have is a 3-wave move down here. Potentially this B wave could then already be completed up here, but it would have been really shallow if that is the case. Now, if we do complete higher up here, then potentially what we could be looking for as a 1-to-1 would be this 30,755, which I would still be looking out for that possibility of this falling short and looking to come back up and towards this 30,621 level as a possible 50% retracement. Now, if we do see something like this, then we need to be on the lookout for that 5th wave to the downside. If, however, we start to push up higher here and we start to push up past this 31,066 level, we need to be cautious, because then this would align with the idea that this whole move here is actually becoming 1 2 3. Then we'd be looking for evidence of that 4th wave and a 5th wave, which would mean that we would have a 5-wave move off this low here, which would then actually mean that, you know, this is not going to continue. Particularly if we hit these invalidation points up here, then we can't have this as a additional as an additional 4th and 5th to the downside. So my primary account is going to be looking for that 5th wave to the downside. If, however, we do look to maintain this zone of this 29,900, even if we see something like this potentially as some kind of a flat correction where we see price come back down into these lows here, this 30,004 is going to be our lower level that we're looking to hold if we're looking for that possibility of continuation to the upside. Though at the moment I am still more inclined to think that we are going to get that 4th and 5th. So that's what we're looking for in the short term here. Now, there are a few things that we need to talk about within the bigger picture here. So we're going to come out here and we're just going to run over a few of these ideas. So if we are looking at the bullish count, what we're saying is that this could be 1 2 here, and that we're looking for effectively this next leg to be another 1 2. Now, we've already said this is a lower confidence count here because of the fact we're relying on so many diagonals, and these would be diagonals in succession here, which is making it even more unreliable. So what we're saying is, yesterday we're looking for this idea of a diagonal to the upside here. Now, we can argue that because this does look like a 3-wave move, we could say that this is a 5th wave here, where this actually becomes A, B, and C to the upside, and then we actually break down from this point. Now, the thing is, within this, if this is the case here, this could then be the end of our C wave, in which case what we're looking for is this 5-wave move down, 3 waves up, and then that continuation. So this would align with that bearish count if we do see this as a diagonal. However, until we actually cross 29,701, all we have to the downside currently is 3 waves. If we get this 4th and this 5th, this invalidates this count by crossing this 29,701. Now, if we fail to actually break down here and we do maintain this 0.854 that we've already come down into, what we could actually start to see is this move could start to develop to the upside, something like a 5-wave structure. Then we see something like this looking to push us up towards this target range, which would be here towards this 33,400 level. So that would be our 3rd wave target currently. If we do see price continue to hold these lows here and start to set new higher lows and continue to do so, potentially we could see something along these lines, in which case we're looking for that possibility of seeing this bigger extension to the upside where we're starting to form that 5-wave move. Now, this is a lower degree of confidence count in my opinion, but we need to just be aware that it is technically possible for as long as we continue to hold these major lows that we have here. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. Now, The alternative we were discussing was this possibility that from further back here, we're still in a corrective structure. So this is still on the cards here. And, you know, what we were saying is that within this B wave, what we could have is something like this, where this becomes A, this becomes B. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diagonal. And then effectively what this would mean is that what we could actually be doing from this point is actually starting to look for this C wave to the downside. Now, if we are looking for this as a C wave to the downside, what we could then see is that this could all become a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, the thing is within this, if we're looking for that extension, we were talking about that possibility of that 2.618 over here. Now, this is technically still possible. It would be a very strong C wave if this is the case. But what we also need to be looking out for is if we do form something like a diagonal or something down into these ranges, what our common target here for an expanding flat would be, it would be this 29,399 to this 28,695. So that's our common area that we're looking for. So this is why it's going to be important here. If we get this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, what happens after this? 3 waves up and continuation down could align with the idea of this being either rather a W, an X, and a Y, where it becomes a zigzag. So that's going to be key if we do see something like that play out. Alternatively, if we do see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then potentially we could actually be looking for this as a C wave. So the idea with these is that we are looking for that possibility of coming back down and retesting some of these lower support zones. So we've already hit this 236, which is already a rare target. Now, what we're talking about is this 0.382 as a potentially interesting zone, and then also lower down here towards this golden pocket, 27,139 to this 26,934. So this would be looking for that possibility of coming back down here, and then really if we start to lose this 786 at this 26,080 level, it starts to become less probable that we're going to see that continuation to the upside in a 5-wave move anyway. Now, the key thing here is, once again, it's going to be all what happens with this move here. Some of the other ways we were discussing this as being a possibility was looking at this as a W, this is an X, and then saying that we had a flat correction in a Y wave. Now, this is also going to be important. So within this count, this is still valid. We could have this as A, B, and then we see a C wave. Now, a common target for this is actually here towards this 29,714 to this 29,096. Now, this would be interesting because potentially would mean that we could look to sweep some of these lows. And what I'd be looking for here would be that possibility of seeing that 5th wave to the downside here, looking to actually sweep this zone. Now, if I overlay the simple one, we can see here that this would actually bring us into this higher target range here. And then as well as that, if I do overlay the more complex one, effectively that could bring us down towards this 2996, which would be that 1.618 level. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that possibility. If we do continue to hold that 4th wave rejection zone and look to break down, potentially we could start to see some of these levels come in. Now, 1-to-1 of this as a W, an X, and a Y is also sitting towards this zone here of this 29,451. So going to be keeping an eye on those levels if we do see this 5-wave move play out. Now, the key thing within this is if this is a corrective move and then we're going to look for that bigger 3rd wave to the upside or a C wave up, effectively what we need to do is take these highs again. So we need to get back above these highs if we are looking at this possibility. Now, as well as that, we did also talk about the potential that because we can potentially count this as a diagonal here, what we could actually have is that this could become an A, B, and a C. So now the key thing within this is that this would actually be our corrective move. So this area here would still be part of the previous impulse. Now, if this is the case and we do see something like this, where this becomes A, we get this B wave up, and then we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or with the additional one where we get another 4th and a 5th here. Effectively, what we'd be looking for would be, once again, this lower target range for this C wave here. And what we would then be needing to see is that if this is A, B, C, if we do get a 3-wave back up and we fail to take these highs, or even if we do sweep it in a 3-wave move, potentially this whole move from here could start to become corrective. So this is why it's going to be very important. We are starting to move down in the right way here. I want to see if we get that confirmation of that 5th wave, and then it's going to be very important what happens from that point. Okay, so we've discussed these ways that we've talked about in the previous videos. Now, there is something I also want to discuss here where if we look at this move slightly different, we were talking about this briefly in one of the videos, and what we were saying is that what we could have here is that our A wave completes into this low, which is fine. So we can also then say that, okay, well then maybe this is our B wave to the upside, which is also fine, and that aligns with that other idea where we're still looking for you know, that fifth wave down, looking for a 5-wave move. Now the problem is that if we have this B wave over here, what I need to see here is 5 waves down. Now the problem with this is the time relationship between this A and this B starts to become very short. Now it is possible that we could see this even as a W and X and a Y to the downside, which is fine. We've already talked about that, so that's one possibility. And then from there we need to see how we react to the upside. The alternative is that actually this move is going to get a lot more complicated. Now this would be obviously very early days in trying to say something like this is playing out, but what I'm looking out for here, if we're going to stay range bound here and just actually end up in a bigger range here, what we could actually see is something like this, where we have this A wave already completed. Now we have a 3-wave move up for this A wave. If we do see a move down in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, we get 3 waves up and another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down into this zone of this 29,701 to this 28,934 level. This could align that we could get something like this, where we get this is a this is a B to the downside. This would be a very common area for a B wave rejection. And then what we'd be looking for then would be that possibility of actually seeing a 5-wave move back to the upside. Now this would be very tricky, because what we'd effectively do here is we've come up here, we've swept these highs, we come back down here, sweep these lows, we come back up here, sweep these highs, and then we actually sweep these lows again. So this is why it's going to be very important to see what happens. If we do form that 5-wave move, then potentially we see you know, this continuation to the upside into this C wave. Alternatively, if we form that 5-wave move down, this would invalidate this idea. So it's going to be very important to see what happens off the back of what we're tracking now as a 5th wave. If we get that, then we need to see that additional 4th and 5th. If we do get that, then we're going to have to see how we react up. 3 waves up starts lining up with lots of these possibilities where we could still be looking to correct down deeper here. And then really we're going to have to be quite cautious about this, because even if we're looking at this as a corrective move down to this place as a W, X, and a Y, we look at this as, okay, this is W, this is X, we get A, B, C, and then we think, yeah, okay, we're off to the races now. We're looking for, you know, here we go, we're going for a 3rd wave, we get 5 waves up, everyone's getting all excited, then bang, 5 waves back to the downside, just to shake things up even more. So, you know, this is something we need to keep an eye on here. If we do see price move up in 5-wave moves in this way, effectively our target for this would be between this level here of this 32,340 to this 31,480 as possible targets here to the upside. So I'm going to be looking out for this. If this support zone holds, I will be looking out for this possibility. We could see this actually just you know, become a bit of a bigger structure here. Now actually in the shorter time frame now, if we fail to push down here one more time, or even if we do push down here one more time, what I'm looking out for still here is the potential that, like we were saying previously, that we could have this as a bigger A, B, and a C. Now the difference with this is this would not be looking for the zigzag. So this would be saying, instead of getting this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we get 3 waves up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What this would be saying is that potentially we have A, B, C as a flat here. Now this flat, once again, I wouldn't say is completed. I'd like to see it move down. Now the common rejection zone for a B wave as a flat with this as an A wave is actually this 29,701 to this 29,202. So this is why I'm saying here, you know, we need to be very careful with this. If we do get this 4th and a 5th here, then potentially we could see a shorter term reversal back to the upside. The ideal here would be the same thing. That price comes back down here, sweeps these lows, comes back to the upside, and sweeps these highs. So this is why, even if we do get a 5-wave move up into these highs again, we need to be very careful, because within our bullish count, what we want to see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside, then 3 waves to the downside. And it's going to be very important that we hold the lows again once we get this 5-wave move. What we need to be careful of is, like I said, if we do get this as flat up into these highs, if we start to develop zigzags down, we need to be careful that doesn't change into a 5-wave structure and look to push us down deeper. So this is what I'm looking out for here at the moment. I know there's a lot of options, but I'm just trying to give you as best I can and explain them, so that if we do look to invalidate one, then we do have other options available. But effectively, it's all going to come down to this move that we currently have here. For the bullish count, where we want to say this is 1, 2, this needs to progress up directly. We cannot lose these lows. For the bearish counts, where we're going to see some continuation, we're still looking for this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If this move completes a 5-wave move down and we get 3 waves up, then we're going to be looking for that potential of continuation to the downside. If we get a 5-wave move up and we sweep these highs, then we have to be careful of the possibility that this could just be a flat correction here, still looking for that B wave, and that could then push us back up into this zone here, where we're looking for this this B wave actually being higher here towards this 31,904 to this 32,200 level. So gonna have to be just on the lookout for this possibility that if we do see price push up here in this way, we could actually see that continuation down afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.